Alright, so if you guys could you please get out your McMush food test that you just received back? I just got done grading these, and when looking at these, I had some serious questions for you guys. Before the lab started, we went ahead and we looked at the pre-lab questions, and I graded all of these questions for you before you even started. Then you guys started into the procedures of testing for lipids, chloride, proteins, glucose, and starch. I had you record your information in this data chart, and what I had you guys do is I had you guys divide this last column, the test results, into two different columns, and I asked that you labeled the first one healthy and the second one McMush. Everybody seemed to do that fine, but one thing that you guys failed to do was it asked you to be sure to give this chart an appropriate title. So something that I'm trying to get you guys to do is to really read and follow directions, which is something that we're not doing a very good job of at this point. So I decided to make that 3.5 points. So if you see a minus 3.5, it's because you didn't have a title written in your actual lab that you turned into me. Let's see here. The other interesting things that I saw is that on day 2 you guys tested your McMush meal and your healthy meal, and then I asked that you answered these questions. These questions had some problems with them. So the first question asks, what was the purpose of the water in the first test? And what I was looking for is I was looking for you guys to understand the fact that the water served as the control group. Okay? The reason that we had to do this is we had to set up the water so that we knew what a negative test looked like and that we could compare our results to a negative test. Every good experiment, every pertinent experiment has to have a control group in order to have any validity to it. Question number 2 asks, what is meant by the term positive result? All I was looking for was if something is positive, let's say that the lipid test is positive, it means that it has lipids. If you go to the doctor and you're being tested for something and the doctor comes back and says that you are positive for it, that means you have whatever illness or whatever they were testing for. So if they're testing to see if you are if you suffer from low blood sugar and they did a blood test on you and they came back and they said that the test was positive, that means that you have low blood sugar. If you're doing a test on carbohydrates and a test comes back positive, it means that you have carbohydrates. So a positive result simply means that that particular compound that you were looking for is actually there in the solution in which you were testing. Number 3, it says, why are carbohydrates, proteins, and lipids important for us to consume? Alright, well, a lot of you guys told me that they were important for energy. And that's true for 2 of them. Carbohydrates are important for energy, lipids are important for energy. But the one thing that you missed is that proteins are not important for energy. In fact, it's almost less cost efficient for our body to burn protein as a source of energy than it is to just leave it alone. Proteins are usually used for repair and building. Please excuse my terrible writing with this new stylus. I'm getting used to it. Alright, so that's number 3. Number 4, if you were given an unknown food sample and you were asked to identify its contents. Guys, all I was looking for was you to list the reagents. So if you look back at the table right before it, all I was looking for was for each one of these, when it said fats or lipids, that you tell me that it takes Sudan-3. If you're testing for salt, you use silver nitrate. If you're testing for starch, you use iodine. These things are reagents that you're going to have to know for the test. And I would just write that down. Maybe for me personally, I would just do a little star there and a little star here. I would definitely know what all of these things do, and I would know what each one of these reagents tests for. Alright, let's scroll back. The next question, number 5, asks what portion of the Happy Meal would have provided each one of these macromolecules? Well, lipids, for example, what would have had fat? If you think about fat, you can think about this could have been in the meat. This could have been in the fries. The fries are deep fried. It could have been in, let's see here. We had apple slices. You shouldn't have any fat in apple slices. You're going to find fat in the cheese, in the cheeseburger. You could have listed meat, cheese. You could have listed French fries, proteins. Really only one source of protein here, and it wasn't a very good source of protein. If you notice that meat that's in the McDonald's cheeseburger isn't really, it's meat, but it's not the kind of meat that you'd buy at the supermarket or that you'd prepare at home. So the protein is actually, you're going to get that from the patty, and that's it. Carbohydrates, glucose and starch, those are both carbohydrates. Some people listed something next to carbohydrates, then listed something next to glucose, then listed something next to starch. That tells me that they don't understand what a carbohydrate actually is. Glucose and starch are both carbohydrates. That's why I labeled this A, B, C, and D. So glucose, where did the sugar come from? The sugar came from the Coca-Cola. The starch came from any of the plant products. This could have came from the apples. This could have also come from the bun. Jonathan and Molly are performing a lab for number 6. They're going to go ahead and take crackers. The crackers that they mixed up in a slurry, which is with water, they found that it tested positive for both protein and fat. They look on the label, they see it doesn't have any protein. What kind of things could have happened to make them have a positive test for protein? This could have been dirty glassware. This could have been they used the wrong reagents. This could have been they misinterpreted the results. Whatever the case may be. Any logical answer, I gave you 1 point for that. And then if we look at number 7, if you place a Diet Coke instead of a Coke into the McMush slurry, what results would be different compared to the original test? Well, there would be no sugar, because diet drinks don't use sugar. They use an artificial sweetener that have no calories, or they have no energy benefit to us. So there's just a quick little review on the lab. I hope it went well for you. Most of you guys did pretty good.